Dean's still live and he's not sending people over. What is he doing? Everyone, tap the screen, share the live right now. Copy link, send it to a few friends. Let's get up to 500,000 likes real quick, everyone. And then once Dean gets in here, we're gonna let him talk to Prize. Is there anything else you want to say to me, Prize?
My argument with you, what I am confused about, because I am confused, and it's how you word things was not making much sense. And your
What did I
argument,
say that didn't make any sense?
sentient beings, you don't actually clarify what it is.
I didn't clarify what a sentient being is? I did.
What is sentience?
We just explained this. I gave an example, right? Your observer, how you're currently experiencing things. Do you know what I'm relating to?
Are you a function or
What's up?
Are you giving an example or a function?
All right. Well, we're gonna give it. I gave you an example to indicate it because I think that we're gonna have some sort of irreducible notion of definitions. What's up, Dean? How you doing, man?
Hey!
You want to take away this conversation?
Yeah, let's go. You're typing up a storm, but anyways, everyone that came over from Livestream, welcome in everyone. Welcome in everyone. That we're doing a co-host with Parker for the night, and for everyone hanging out on Parker's stream, appreciate seeing you all. But anyways, what's up, man? Yeah, so you think abortion's wrong in the first trimester? Why is that the case?
First, I just want to say it is wrong because it's the act of killing someone. Which I mean,
so do you just deem that wrong in all instances? I appreciate you for the confetti. So it's ending a biological life, just like is that just an axiomatic truth?
It's wrong when nothing is substantially objective, like nothing is occurred where it is needed.
Oh, nice. So do you think that pulling the plug on a brain dead patient is wrong?
What you mean, a brain dead patient? Explain that to me.
A brain dead patient. So someone with irreversible cessation of all brain activity, chilling in a hospital bed, being supported by life support, and costing nearly $7,000 a day to be supported. Would it be wrong for a family member to consent to having their plug pulled?
Their blood pulled? Say that again?
Would it be wrong for a family member of a brain-dead patient in hospital to consent to having that brain-dead family member's plug pulled? Is that wrong? Is that immoral?
It depends on what's going on.
What's that?
I just said, you didn't understand me earlier when I said, it depends on if it's needed, which I mean needed.
Cass, thank you so much for the galaxy.
Tracy, thank you for $5. I appreciate Tracy.
What I'm saying.
So I don't know what you're implying by necessity, but let me just lay out the case scenario. My mom gets in a car crash tomorrow. She's brain dead, has irreversible cessation of all brain activity. She goes to the hospital. She's ruled in a vegetative state for the rest of her existence, and the only reason that she's alive is because of the artificial machine supporting her life. And I have to pay $7,000 to keep her alive. Would it be wrong for me to consent to having her plug pulled?
Brain dead, yes.
That is wrong for me to do?
No. I messed up. Brain dead, no. If she was
So what we see is that you don't hold to the principle that unaliving someone is wrong. Because earlier you told us the reason that abortion. One second. Earlier the reason that you told us that abortion's wrong is because it's like unaliving someone. But we would see like an abortion unaliving a fetus in the same way that pulling the plug on a brain dead patient is unaliving said brain dead patient. Both are biologically alive, and I see no relevant difference between the two. And the reason are like under this notion that you yield different conclusions or different outcomes, like getting an abortion is wrong while pulling the plug on a brain dead patient is wrong, just shows the contradictory, state of your logic.
I didn't give a contradictory. I think you failed to hear me and you just wanted to talk to me. Anyways, what I said was, it is what I consider a unaliving to be took place is if the state of mind is which it will not come back. Right? If you say a dead person, right, they have no state of mind where they will develop and to be better or to come back from that. So yes, I think since the end of their existence to experience anything or to live naturally, they should be alive.
Oh, so it's more about like future experiences. Jenna, thank you for the hand arts. So yeah, if I got a contraption with 2 arms, on one arm there exists a sperm cell, on the other arm there exists an egg, and this contraption is moving the sperm and the egg closer and closer and closer and closer together, we would see a future experience being developed from the movement of this contraption. Thank you so much for the money gun. So would it be wrong to stop the movement of said contraption?
I thought we were talking about humans, not eggs.
Oh, so we're specifically talking about humans? So you're saying that sentience is only of moral relevance, or future experience is only of moral relevance within humans? So if Superman came down to Earth tomorrow, he wouldn't have any form of moral relevance? So you're just making a species essentialist argument?
I can address one point. You're. It's like a mixed bow when you like everything's in. You're throwing everything at me.
No, I'm not throwing everything at you at once. You told me specifically that you value future states of sentience, or future like experience per se, and we're gonna see future experience produced from this contraption. Therefore, you should say it's wrong to stop the movement of it, because this would be stopping the future experience in the same way that an abortion would. So would you say that it's wrong to stop the movement of the contraption?
Is it a disease?
What?
It's a disease. You said it was spreading.
Is what a disease?
You said the egg and the sperm, right? Can you elaborate on what you said again?
Yeah. So you told me what you specifically give moral relevance to is future experience. And what I think you're talking about is states of future sentience, right? And if you're saying this is what you grant moral relevance to, well, this is where we conceive of a hypothetical where we have a contraption with 2 arms on it, and on one arm there exists a sperm cell, on the other arm there exists an egg cell, and this contraption naturally moves the arms closer and closer together. If left to its natural habitat, they're inevitably going to touch and produce future states of sentience, right? So under your worldview, would you say it would be wrong to stop the movement of this contraption?
I would have had sentience.
It has future states of sentience. And the same way that a fetus has future states of sentience due to like development of like the neuroanatomy in like weeks 18 through 24, like, you know, the movement of this contraption is going to produce future states of sentience with the sperm and the egg cell inevitably touching, then seeing the same development in which we'd observe within said fetus.
So you believe it's moving things?
What?
You said you believe sentience is moving, feeling, right?
No, I think that sentience is just the ability, like to experience like, you know, subjective experiences, or to like, you know, have like responses to external stimuli in like a mind-dependent manner, something along those lines.
You say
With mind dependency just denoting some like some actualization of qualia. I would agree with that.
when you say experience, I might get what you're saying. Dude.
What the fuck are you keeping up, man? You could just tell me if you're not keeping up.
I'm keeping up. I'm trying to, but like it's very hard to understand what you're putting out.
Right. So you said
it makes no darn sense.
Right. So you said you value future experiences. This contraption with the sperm and an egg cell and the 2 arms is going to produce future experiences. If you stop the movement of it, it's going to stop the future experiences. So would it be wrong to stop the movement of it?
Would it be wrong to stop the movement of that? Hello? Would it be wrong of it stopping the movement of what?
Do you have an easier way to explain it, Parker?
I've already gone through this argument with him. I think it might just be time to cycle out.
Yeah, thanks for coming up, prizefighter. I've never seen Parker do that before.
All right, we're just going to go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you disagree, everyone. Tap that screen. Let's try to get to 500,000 likes, everyone. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Oh, I just talked to this guy about the gay topic.
25.
Yeah, do you think that being gay is wrong, or what the hell? Do you think that abortion is wrong during the first trimester?
Yeah, I do.
Why so?
Well, my answer would be for the pure fact of if you take out the factor of rape and incest and all this and that, if you're doing it as birth control, then I would say be more responsible.
So you think it's okay to get an abortion in the context of rape or incest?
No, I'm saying if you excluded that. because if you
So you don't think it's okay to get an abortion in those contexts?
that morally, there is no true, in my opinion, there is no true moral high ground when it comes to rape and incest, because
You have to say R word or essay, by the way, or you can say grape.
I'm sorry.
You have to say R word, essay, or grape. It's TikTok TOS.
Okay. So in those two horrible instances, I would say there actually is no true moral high ground in that stance, because one could easily say, oh, you're killing a life, but then somebody else could come back and say, but she was, blank. How could you say that?
So I would say that it's very easy to explain this, right? It is the case that like someone who didn't cause the pregnancy would have no reason to have an obligation for that pregnancy.
Which that is true, but at the same time, like I would say this.
Why is the act of abortion wrong?
For example, right? If someone just came up to you and then plugged you into someone, and then you were then like they were relying on your resources to keep you alive, should you have to sustain that?
So in the instance of this topic, I would say if it's that situation, as embarrassing as it is for the woman, which is very understandable, I would never say you must do this. If you're going to go through something like that, I would say, try to look into help immediately, like plan B.
Actually, let me just ask you this question. A 12-year-old that is medically able to go through like pregnancy, should they be forced to sustain the pregnancy?
Forced?
Yeah, like they have to, like they can't get an abortion.
No, I would say no.
Why not? Why not?
There is contraceptive options to prevent the actual pregnancy from happening.
No, we're talking about a 12-year-old, dude. A
12-year-old gets
raped.
raped. 12-year-old gets raped by her uncle, and she learns, or like their family learns that she's pregnant like a month or two down the line. Should she be able to get an abortion, and would that abortion be wrong?
Oh, well, are we looking at this in like the legal mindset or what? Because a 12-year-old doesn't really have any legal obligation to choose, because the parents still have full control of what she can.
This is so far off of like the oh my gosh.
No,
Should this
I get
child
your
that got
point,
okay,
but-
listen, here's what's happening. So you're saying that like victims of rape shouldn't be able to get abortions, and there's no moral high ground that would be preluded to instances such as that, and you still would fail to see the justification for abortions even in those circumstances. So basically what this would prelude to, if a 12-year-old got raped and she could bear that child, she should be forced or compelled by the state to bear that child. And under your worldview, that would be just, and an abortion would be wrong.
Okay.
Is this correct?
I mean, yes, what you're saying, but here's my contradiction to what you're saying, because, okay, if you're saying that the state shouldn't have the right to force a woman to have a pregnancy, okay, that's in some sense, that's kind of sexist, because if a woman wants to have a baby, but the father doesn't want to be a father, why does the state have the right to force the father?
It's not his fucking body. What the hell are you talking about?
I think
Sexist,
I think he's
bro.
preluding to like child support.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, why is it okay for the state to, like, why is it okay for the state to say...
Oh, so like enforce the
It's
obligation when it relates to women, but not to men?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm asking you a question saying, why is it okay to force a male to pay child support when the woman wants
Well,
the baby?
I think
but he
that there should
doesn't?
be an obligation for both once they're sentient. If
Yeah,
they caused
right.
it.
So we're saying like obligation is born out of sentience, and this is also like a very poor claim that you're making. I feel
If they
like,
caused
listen,
it, by the way. So I just want to clarify
if they
that.
caused it. So, like, here's my hypothesis. You don't really care about the fetus. You more so just care about the woman and wanting to reprimand her. Because it really... you haven't talked about the fetus, like, one time on this live so far. And I just want that to be very known, right?
And
I think you're more so just
care
about
about
one moment, Jay. You're just more so about, like, potential reprimand towards the woman, which I disagree with. But then also, under this notion, well, as soon as this fetus or this child is sentient, like, the parents that caused the sentient being's existence are going to have an obligation to it in or out of the womb. So the state should, like say that a mother would have an obligation to this fetus after the point that it's sentient, in the same manner that the state should, tell like a father that he would have an obligation to pay child support.
Okay, that is a fair point. But I will say I do care about the fetus, because I am a loving person, babies and everything. That's a soft spot for me. I can't, I'm not
You
going to...
love babies? Okay, he just went on pause. I appreciate you for that gun. Yeah, if you love babies, then you should like probably do what would be best for the babies in this instance. We're not equating any moral value or obligation to unsentient entities, such as fetuses prior to about 18 to 24 weeks. But after that point, then we do. And if we're going to uphold the highest amount of respect for them, we should try to make sure that their quality of life is going to be the best. And by restricting access to abortions from women, prior to 18 to 24 weeks, you're just going to be having an empirical decline in the quality of life for some of these, babies once they are of that state, due to the fact that the mother didn't have the option to abort them, right? So if you cared about babies, you'd be pro-choice.
I mean, yes and no. I'm pro-life. I would say that if you're going to have an abortion and let's say it's into the point where you can have an ultrasound and you can obviously see the form of a little baby and it has a heartbeat, that is a living being. That is a living person. That is a human fetus. Yeah. That is a life. So, I mean, to take that is to commit a murder. You're killing a life. And to piggyback what you said to the other guy, would it be wrong to pull the plug on a vegetable? That necessarily
on an individual who's brain dead.
Yeah, an individual that is brain dead. That not necessarily would be my choice, because if that person does have it in their last will and testament to say, "Hey, pull the plug," they had the choice to choose if they wanted to live or die.
No, we would just assume a hypothetical where we don't have anything that asserts a preference either or.
I mean, that's hypothetical, but in a little sense, a brain dead person, if they chose to have the plug pulled on them, they had a life and a voice and a choice to say, "Hey, if this is the situation, go ahead and pull the plug. Don't make me live through that. I don't want y'all to live through that." Versus a fetus.
Well, they won't live through that because they're brain dead.
I know that, obviously. But what I'm saying is a fetus, no matter what trimester, they have no voice and no choice. All they know is they're depending on a mother, regardless of the circumstances, to give them life. They don't have a choice whether they live or die. So if a mom just doesn't want it, then boom, you're getting thrown away. Rather, it's a fact of, oh, I had sex, and oh my God, I just don't want the baby. I just want to go out and have sex, and get pregnant. That you shouldn't be able to do that.
No, we brought up a particular scenario where someone got raped, okay? So they're not just going out and having sex. This person was assaulted. This person had no choice in the matter. This person was taken advantage of, okay? Their rights were violated. And you're saying, in despite of the fact that their rights were violated and the fact that they were assaulted, they should still be forced to continue this pregnancy. Yet they had no part or no responsibility in causing this particular pregnancy. It was literally forced upon them, okay? So why should a 12-year-old that is medically able, right, be forced to undergo a particular pregnancy? Because it is the case that she particularly shouldn't kill a human life, right?
Okay. I mean, in the instance of a 12-year-old, I mean, that, even though that is a very tragic thing, and a parent should not ever force that on their baby. That, honestly, in a moral standpoint...
Dude, we're talking about a non-sentient embryo, okay? I'm not talking about even later in the pregnancy. Right now, I'm talking about a non-sentient embryo. You think that a little 12-year-old little girl should be forced to continue that pregnancy and give birth to that, right? Even though it's not sentient at the moment, okay? So they could get an abortion, and it would not be sentient when they got the abortion. So I don't see a reason why we would subject a 12-year-old to that type of horror, given the fact that we can prevent this from happening without ending a sentient human life, right? Like, that just seems to be like a rational conclusion to me, okay? Very clear rational conclusion. They didn't cause the pregnancy.
That particular scenario is, like I said before, there is no true moral standpoint to say that, because if I was to say no, it's a life, let the 12-year-old should have the baby, then of course you're going to come back to me and say, oh, it's a 12-year-old, she should not be forced to do anything, which I would say you're right, because no matter which way you look at it, it's screwed up. It's screwed up either way. If you make a 12-year-old have a baby, that's screwed up.
No, it's not screwed up every way. The other one's an embryo that literally does not have sentience, okay? Like, it's not... what's screwed up about doing that? Like, for a 12-year-old?
Okay, I guess I'm a little ignorant. What is sentience? Is it just knowledge of existence?
Subjective experience.
Subjective experience.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, if you don't mind. So this just is correlating something you said earlier. You told us abortion's wrong because the fetus is alive and it has a heartbeat, correct?
Right. If it is alive and it has a heartbeat.
So would you agree with the statement, it is wrong to unalive an entity that is living and has a heartbeat?
Repeat that? It glitched a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Would you agree with this? It is wrong to unalive an entity that is living and has a heartbeat. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, whether it's in the womb or out of the womb, it's still murder.
All right, sweet. So my next question, are you vegan?
Vegan?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Are chickens alive and do they have a heartbeat?
Yes.
Well, why don't you think it's wrong to unalive them? It's wrong to unalive something that's living and has a heartbeat. Chickens are alive and have a heartbeat. This seems like a direct contradiction. So, like, more so what this is telling us is you're either special pleading in the case of the fetus or you just have contradictory logic. And I think we probably shouldn't justify, like, you know, this belief or this proposition or this worldview that would effectively limit access to healthcare and suppress the rights of 170 million American women with contradictory logic.
Well, what you're comparing to is animals versus human beings. Cows and chickens or whatever, that's a form of food, you know, and that they're not human beings, man. Like that's food. That's animals.
Okay.
You can't compare that. You can't compare that.
So he just has a conjunction, human condition, right? Human, and then this other quality, right?
Okay.
Okay.
So like,
go ahead.
Oh no! I was gonna honestly press the human quality a little bit. If you want to,
you can go for it, but I actually hold to that, dude. I actually hold to that. So you want to debate? Let's go, buddy.
Well, under this notion where like it's relying upon a conjunction between humanity and a heartbeat and being alive. I mean,
well, not the heartbeat point, but the human point. Yeah, we can argue that.
Are you just saying it's wrong because it's like just aesthetically unpleasing, or it's just intuitively true to you?
No, I'm saying it's
when it
wrong
comes to the conjunction of humanity, Parker.
Are you talking about me?
Yeah.
So it's not about the look. No, it's going to be about the analogies, right? That we would bring up, like the reductios. I'm going to have significantly not as bad reductios as it relates to the scenario in which I have a human condition, whereas that I do not have a human condition, right? Like,
yeah,
would I be okay with accepting the idea that like my mom is a murderer?
I'm just like,
or that my mom pays for people to get murdered.
I just don't know if I like particularism. I just don't know if I like particularism, and I think I'm going to die on those hills until I can hold to.
Oh yeah, you are going to die on those hills.
Well, until I can find a good way to account for them under generalism. Until I can.
Wait. Do you believe that you're paying for murder right now, Dean?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
So okay. So,
but it's like I'm going to die on it.
Just think about that for a second. Just think about it. Just think about it for a second.
I do. I do. No, I do. I do. And I'm going to hold to that until I come up with a good principle to work my way around it under generalism. Because particularism, I have a preference against it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I would just have to go over you with your generalist theory, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we could provide pretty absurd reductios for any generalist notion, but I'll let you go. I'll let you continue. Sophia, I appreciate the Venmo. Thank you so much. I'll let you do your pressing, but
okay,
we can debate on that sometime.
So you're saying, well, like the difference between a chicken and a human is the fact that you eat the chicken, right? So it's like specifically okay to unalive a chicken because the chicken was bred to be eaten, correct?
Yeah, you eat its eggs, you can eat its meat.
Okay, so if there's a cooperative of women that got pregnant with the sole purpose of aborting the fetuses to feed themselves, would it be justified to get an abortion in that instance because they eat it?
No, that's cannibalism.
Oh, but what we see is a direct contradiction in the logic. You're saying it's okay to unalive something because you eat it, but as soon as you talk about a human, it's not okay. This seems like a contradiction. I don't know, man. It just seems like we're not really hearing the confluent logic here.
I mean, it's pretty logical. I mean, human beings, they eat just about any form of meat. I mean, if you eat another human being, obviously that's cannibalism. That's kind of screwed up. But I mean, yes, there is cultures out there that they believe in, when their relatives die, you eat them and it carries their spirit on. But I mean, that's beside the fact of what we're talking about here.
I don't see the difference, right? So if you're basically saying, well, you're holding a chicken to a different standard than a human, well, what traits would the human possess that the chicken does not possess that would allow for the symmetry breaker between these two entities?
Well, obviously, okay, a chicken is a chicken. It's a bird. It doesn't talk, it doesn't love, it doesn't show affection to you, it can't hold you when you're down, it can't say I'm sorry.
Talk, love, show affection, hold you when you're down, say I'm sorry. Yeah, can a fetus talk, love, show affection, hold you when you're down, or say I'm sorry?
Not yet, no, but it's still a living human being.
Oh, well, what we see is you told me the specific symmetry breaker between the chicken and the human in this instance where there's abilities, but the fetus doesn't possess those. And now you're saying, well, it's still wrong because it's a living human being. Would you say it's wrong to pull the plug on a brain-dead patient?
That still goes back to what I said originally. The brain-dead patient has already had the choice to say, hey, if I'm brain dead, pull the plug.
Nope, they didn't assert that's consent. It might listen. I get into a car crash tomorrow. I haven't assessed any form of consent like that. Would it be okay for my mom to consent to having the plug pulled on me because it would cost her $7,000 a day to sustain my life?
As difficult as a decision, that would be more so under the condition of her choice. I cannot tell her that's right or wrong. That's her choice.
It's her choice, just like it's a mother's choice. You can't tell her if that's right or wrong for her child. But anyways, right, you originally told me that abortion was still wrong regardless of the symmetrical differences between a human and a chicken. Well, because a fetus was still, well, alive and human. A brain-dead patient is still, well, alive and human. So if you're going to say it's okay for my mom to make her choice, and you can't tell her if it's right or wrong to pull the plug on me if I was brain-dead, even though I'm alive and human, well, you should probably tell 170 million American women that if they want to get an abortion, well, it's their choice, and you can't tell them if it's right or wrong, even though it's a living human.
It's different. It's definitely different to a sense because
what's the difference?
So you've already been born, you've been able to experience life, you've had a choice, but of course, like you said, let's say you get in a wreck. Now the mom's in a position of, what do I do? Do I pull the plug? Do I not? And let's say she does pull the plug. Okay. In the instance of an abortion, it's still a complete different thing because that is a living being that has never had a chance to live life. It's never had a chance to do anything. And it's not murder for her to pull the plug on you because...
What if I came out of the womb brain dead?
I'm sorry?
I never understand this objection, right? You're like, people say, well, the brain dead patient lived a little life and the fetus didn't live a little life. If I came out of the womb brain dead, would you still hold to the conclusion that it would still be my mother's choice to pull the plug on me? Because, I'm her son and, it costs a lot of money, etc., even though I'm a living human. Would you still hold to that notion?
If I understand you correctly, I mean, not really, just because when you're a brain dead patient or you're in the position of life or death on the hospital bed and your mom has to choose, do you live or die? That's a whole different scenario because a fetus is
What's the difference?
A fetus is a living being that has had no chance to have any experience in life. And when you're killing it out of the pure fact of, I don't want to deal with the responsibility, or you're not giving it a chance at life versus when you're on the bed, when you're laying on the bed dying, it's almost the same thing as, okay, if the mom decides, it's not my decision, if you're a religious person, let's say she wants to say it's in God.
I understand what you're saying. Have you heard the contraption hypothetical?
I'm sorry?
Have you heard the contraption hypothetical? It's been brought up with quite a few guests, so I need to see if I need to repeat it.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So imagine a contraption with two arms. On one arm, there's going to exist a sperm cell. On the other arm, there exists an egg. And this contraption moves the sperm and the egg closer and closer and closer together.
Okay.
If you're saying abortion's wrong because you're taking away the chance of future experiences, would you say that stopping the movement of this contraption is wrong because it's taking away the chance of future experiences? Because in both instances, whether it be a pregnancy or the movement of this contraption, if you left them their natural endeavors, we would see potentiality for future experiences under both instances.
Okay, that is an interesting. I would say no, it's not wrong because let's say once the egg and the sperm, because once the egg and the sperm meet and let's say it fertilizes and it becomes a fetus, embryo, baby, all that.
So now you hold to a human quality. What is it? Do you got to be human? Do you got to be human, or do you just have to have future experiences?
So are we talking about a human sperm and egg or just any?
Yeah, no, wait, no, because you told us specifically it's wrong to get an abortion because of future experiences. Well, we're also going to see future experiences produced by the movement of this contraption, so you should say it's wrong to stop the movement of it. But now you're like introducing the human component. So would you say that you would just hold to humanity and future experiences?
Oh no. Okay, so I may have misspoke. What I'm trying to say is I would not say it's wrong to stop the machine, because let's say it, once it gets together and it fertilizes, then it's up to, if it produces and it becomes a baby, great. If it miscarries, that's nature.
What's the difference? What? Why? I don't understand the symmetry breaker, because both of these things will produce, will potentially produce future states of sentience. But then you're saying it's not wrong in the case of the contraption because it isn't a fertilized embryo. But then I asked you if you're holding yourself to a conjunction of humanity plus sentience, and you said no. So I don't see why a fertilized embryo or the moment of conception would be morally relevant.
So what I'm getting at, it's still along the lines of what we were talking about before. If a fertilized egg becomes fertilized and it produces...
Can you tell me the symmetry breaker? I appreciate you for the hand arts, Persephone. I need to know the symmetry breaker as to why you don't think stopping the movement of the contraption is wrong, even though it'll produce future, future sentience, right? But getting an abortion is wrong because it certainly stops future sentience. Both things are going to certainly stop future sentience, and you think one's wrong because of it, but you think the other's not wrong regardless of it. That's a logical contradiction.
Okay. The reason I would say it's not wrong humanely to stop the machine was I value every human life, period, of who they are, what they are, born and unborn.
So, Brandon.
I still value that life.
But you think that a mother should be able to make...
I have a question, right?
Yeah,
Let's say that we're doing IVF, in vitro fertilization, and I have a sperm and an egg, and I cause fertilization. Right? There's a zygote sitting on the table. Right? Is it wrong for me to slap the zygote?
Is it wrong for you to slap the zygote?
Yeah, to cause its death. Just slap the desk, slap the table. Is it wrong for me to do that?
Has it been fully formed, or is it just...
It's fertilized. Yeah, it's fertilized.
Nothing, then no.
It's a life. It's a human life.
Hold on, man. Hold on. So what I'm saying is if you... I'm sorry, I stutter. If vitro fertilize something, it could be looked at as potentially like Schrodinger's cat. There's no guarantee it's going to produce life, or if it's going to be a mispregnancy. So it could be if you eventually fertilize the egg.
Okay, that's first of all, that's not Schrodinger's cat. Second of all, we know if there's life caused from in vitro fertilization. There's like literally a whole business associated with this. You know that, right? They have to know whether or not they have a zygote.
I know that, but what I'm saying to you is, I asked you. I said, "Is it a zygote or embryo yet?" You said, "No, it's fertilized." It's a
zygote. No, it's a zygote. I said it's a zygote.
Okay, so has it developed a heartbeat yet, or is it just still?
No, there's no heartbeat. It's a zygote. It's a human life at conception, which 96% of biologists agree that this is a life. Okay.
Okay, then at that stage, I would say no. I believe in the heartbeat. Like in my state, after a heartbeat, you cannot get an abortion.
So you disagree with the overwhelming consensus in science?
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying.
No, so you don't disagree. So you agree with the overwhelming consensus in science.
What I'm saying is,
it's either that you agree or disagree.
No, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm just saying straightforward that if it has a heartbeat, then that's a life. Before that, you can't say it's life or not. So
you're disagreeing with the overwhelming scientific consensus.
Okay, then yeah, sure.
Okay.
Then yeah, sure. Simply because, like I said before, it's either considered it could be a baby, or she might miscarry and it dies before it even gets a chance to get a heartbeat.
I have a question. If someone's brain dead, right, their heart's still beating, and they use their heart for a heart transplant, so their heart goes into someone else's body. Okay. Right. The other body's dead.
Okay.
Completely done for. Okay. is the person, right, whose heart was beating in the brain dead individual, right?
Okay.
Is that person still alive because their heart's still beating?
No,
But their heart's still beating.
No, you took that heart from that individual and put it into somebody else to give.
Yeah,
them
but their
life.
heart's still beating.
But that's not their heart.
You said
anymore.
what determines life is the heart. Their heart is still beating.
The beating in you. Once your heart's out of you,
Yeah, so that-
as an individual are not alive. 'Cause
Wait,
it's
are you
outside of
separating you from your heart? I thought your heart's what determines you as your life.
No, you separated me from my heart because you said
No,
took-
you said that you is distinct from the heart.
No, you said that. You said
No, that's
if
what you
I
just
take-
said.
You said you said if you took your heart and gave it to somebody else and you're brain dead, are you still alive? No, you are not alive anymore because your heart and your brain are no longer working. There's no blood.
No, your heart is working. Your heart is
but it's
working.
not going to your brain. That means you are not alive.
Wait. So you make a distinction between you and your brain and your heart?
You have
So
to
like
have,
you is not based upon your heart. You is based upon your brain.
you as an individual, for you to have life, you have to have blood flowing to your brain. Once you have a brain stem formed, nervous systems, blood vessels, a heartbeat.
So those are part of the process, but that does not mean that that like you is determined by the heart, right? So you agree that you is determined by your brain.
You is determined by your being. If you,
Which
your
is what?
individual
Which is
self,
what being? What being?
If you, your individual self, if your brain is no longer working, meaning there's no neurological receptors going anywhere, and your heart has now been separated from your body, your brain and your body has no life in it at all. Because your life depends on your brain and your heart. Without the two, you have nothing. You're dead completely.
Okay,
dead.
so if you have no brain working, then you're not alive.
What are you getting at?
So if your brain is not functioning, then you're not alive. Like, so a brain dead individual is not alive.
Yes and no. Because when your brain
That's
dead,
a contradiction.
it's not a contradiction. Because when your
Yes
brain
and no
dead,
to the same proposition is a contradiction. Yes.
Okay, so then you are still
Thomas,
alive
thank you
with
so
your
much for
brain
the
dead.
$5 cash out. Thank you so much.
If you are brain dead, that just means your brain's not working, but your organs are working. That means you're there, but you're not there. I know that doesn't make sense. So
Yeah,
if
that's incoherent gibberish. You're just
Yeah,
gibberating.
Okay, so if you're brain dead, that just means your body's working, but you're not aware of anything going on around you. You're completely incoherent. Your brain's dead.
So your
eyes
brain
don't work.
dead. Your
Yeah.
brain is not. So you're dead, medically speaking.
Yeah,
Right. You're just your body, cellularly speaking, is alive.
yeah. You're a vegetable. You're a vessel full of blood pumping everywhere else, but your brain is not working. Yeah.
Okay. What is your point?
That's it. Like you. What are you getting at? If you're brain dead, you're alive in a sense, but you're not neurologically alive. Your organs are working, but your brain's not. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Okay. So here I'm gonna go back on to the other point. So you think that someone who has been raped is still obligated to uphold the pregnancy? Like, do you think that they should be legally enforced to continue this pregnancy? Like, if they get an abortion, right, in the first few months of pregnancy, if they get an abortion in the first few months, should they get first-degree murder charge?
Thomas, thank you for the $5 over Cash App.
Forced? No, nobody should force anything on anybody. I mean, personally, like I said, I don't
So you're
think
pro-choice?
it's right.
So you're pro-choice, yeah.
I'm not pro-choice.
Okay, so we should force people then.
Just because you're pro-life doesn't mean you would force anybody to do anything.
That doesn't make any sense.
By definition, yeah. Pro-life means no one should be able to have access to abortion. Pro-choice means individuals should be able to
Not
make
no
the
one,
choices
but
for
like an
themselves.
overwhelming majority of cases should not be allowed for
There's an
abortion.
oversimplification. It allows,
yeah,
like,
you're good.
generally allows for a few exceptions.
In a political standpoint, yes, but pro-life just means you are pro-living. That means you don't think I should be able to kill you. You should not be able to kill me.
Then why are all pro-lifers not in support of universal health care?
I cannot speak
Or
for all
access to
pro-lifers.
child care? Or like, access to like social security to higher extents or food stamps or other types of social safety nets?
I cannot speak for all pro-lifers because, like, I have met some very messed up, rude assholes that are pro-life. Like, and that I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for other people. Me personally, I'm pro-life. I hate the fact that humanity kills each other, murders each other. I hate the fact that we have war. I hate the fact that we're just shitty people to each other. I think we should all just be able to get along and be like, yo, bro, like, I love you. Just period. Everybody, born and unborn, should have the chance to be loved, respected, and treated with all equality. And then abortion, after a heartbeat, you're robbing an innocent being of that choice. I mean, yes, in the instance of rape and incest, that's a very unfortunate event. And me personally, I'm not going to say yay or nay, just because either way, like I said before, it's screwed up. Oh, it's a 12-year-old. Oh, that's a baby. So either way, it's morally screwed up to say one way or the other. There's no true moral way to look at it, depending on where your moral compass lies, honestly. I mean, some people morally, if you don't believe in God, then there really is no true moral compass because you don't have no sense of morality. You know, from one
Dude, what are you talking about? We have no sense of morality.
Okay,
Literally, Leviticus 25, 44 through 46. You literally think under your own Bible that slavery is permissible, and you can literally you can bequeath them to your children as inherited property. Exodus 21, 20 through 21 states you can literally beat your slaves so long as they recover after a day or two because they're your property. It's wild for you to say that we have no morality, yet you literally believe that slavery is permissible in the old times.
And also the question that I always ask here, or I've actually never asked it before, it just is now coming to mind. If you make the claim that you can only have morality if you are a Christian, I mean, then how would you hold to the belief? Like, how would you possibly hold to the belief, even if it is contradictory, that slavery is wrong? Because throughout the Bible, slavery is mentioned as being morally permissible. So I fail to see how you would come to that moral truth, even if it's contradictory.
Okay, let me ask you this. Because I've heard this before of saying, oh, if you're a Christian, that means you believe in slavery. That means you believe in beating your wife. That has nothing to do with me because Christianity is spawned from Christ. Christ in the New Testament. The Old Testament is the Mosaic law. That is the Judaic law. That has nothing to do with me. I personally
Mosaic law. No, you believe that in that time period it was justified because that came from your God.
I don't believe in slavery. I think slavery is wrong. I mean,
okay, well, so we can relate to. Do you think that you should obey your earthly masters if you're a slave?
Are we talking about slaves or servants? Because there's a difference between slavery.
No, should slaves obey their earthly masters?
In a Christian sense, no. In a Mosaic sense,
okay.
yes.
Well, I can literally give you a verse that says that. Look up. Slaves obey your earthly masters. New Testament.
Okay, I will look into that. So let me ask you this: I'm assuming y'all are not Christians. Y'all don't believe in God, correct?
I do not believe in God. No, I'm not Christian.
Okay, so
Lizzie, thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate Lizzie.
So in a Christian sense, cheating on a test is wrong. Okay, but if you don't believe in God, what basis do you have to say cheating on a test is wrong if it gets you an A? Is it right or wrong?
Christy, thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I think it depends.
On what?
Like, it could depend on whether or not you take like a position away from someone else at like some accredited university. Divya, I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much. Like, if it's just in a general context, like as a kindergartner, right? Me cheating on a test, I don't think it's wrong morally.
Okay, let's
Stacy, thank you so much for the 4 month. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much.
Okay,
do you think it's wrong for let's say I'm 1943, right? There's Jewish people in my attic. Nazi officials come to my door, knock on the door, and say, "Are there Jewish people in your attic?" If I lie and say that there's not Jewish people in my attic to save the Jewish people's lives, is that wrong?
Oh, excuse me. So are we really going to compare Nazism, the Holocaust, to morals?
Can you answer?
No. You think that lying is a sin, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that you mean you think you should not sin in all cases, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if you should not sin in all cases, well, then it's going to be the case that you should not lie. So you think I should not lie in this circumstance in order to save the lives of the Jewish people in my attic?
Wow, I've actually never heard that. Honestly, I can't ethically. Honestly, I mean, I'm laughing myself. Ethically,
because that you understand that is an absurd reductio. Like that's a crazy reductio. Like to say that you shouldn't lie in that scenario.
Yes, it is, because that's one of the biggest ethical. It's similar to the biggest ethical question: is if you could go back in time, would you kill baby Hitler? It's still
like an ethical dilemma. I mean, that's not a hard question for me, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Immediately.
Yeah, but why, man? That's a baby. Why would you murder
that baby is going to lead to the genocide.
He's not good or bad as a baby yet.
Lead to 6 million people dying. Going to lead to tens of millions of people dying in World War II. The level of pain and evil that was caused by that man is actually unbelievable.
But what if you can change the course of history, man? What if you can lead him away from his evil?
Well, if I could do that, then I would do that. But like the hypothetical is that either you can kill or he like continues to survive and he's fine and like he ends up doing everything. So if killing is my only option, I would do that. If it's not my only option, then yeah, I would do something different. You could socialize an individual separately.
Right. So I mean, like with that being said, I mean, what you asked, it's not necessarily.
Dat Girl, thank you so much for the 5 subscriptions. Thank you so much. Dat Girl in the comment section, everyone.
That's not
W Persephone.
A realistic perspective to look at, because honestly, it's a double contradiction. You know, if you say, "Oh, you know, you can do it," you could easily say, "Well, what the hell, man? You just said this. You just said, hey, don't lie," but then it still goes like, "Oh, well, you're just gonna let the Jewish people die?" Like that. That's really unrealistic. That's really unrealistic.
What? It's unrealistic. It happened in history.
I know it happened, but I'm saying what you're asking me. You're asking me a question that it's a double negative. No matter what answer you choose,
it's called a reductio ad absurdism. It's either your view is going to end in absurdism or you're going to entail a contradiction. That's the whole point of a reductio ad absurdism. I did the same thing to Dean earlier. Dean had to accept the absurdism.
I did. I had to accept the absurdism because I'm a generalist, and I think particularism is an absurdism.
No,
Anyways.
particular it is not an absurdism. That doesn't even make any sense.
I did do that.
Yes,
honestly, I did do
Don't you
that.
reductio the principle?
And honestly, morally, I
And
couldn't
the
answer that
principle
question.
of particularism is absurd.
What? There's no principles in particularism. That's
Particularism
incoherent.
in of itself is a principle.
How do you say that?
Yeah, I mean, are you saying that, like, you know, all moral truths would be, like, you know, context dependent to, like, a certain degree?
So, like, we're talking in terms of morals because it's moral particularism.
I know. I mean, would you hold to the fact
That's
that, like,
not a moral.
morals,
That's not a moral.
all
claim.
morals, like, all morals are, like, a descriptive. Like, it's a descriptive.
That's a descriptive.
principle.
Yeah, that's not a moral claim.
I think it's a descriptive principle that would lead to.
Yeah, but like I never disputed the idea that there are like principles that can apply in a descriptive sense, right? What I disputed here is that there are moral principles. That's what I disputed.
I know. Is that
you just engaged in a category here, Dean? I mean, it's really unfortunate, buddy.
No, I never made a claim that it was some type of normative absurdism. I think it's a descriptive absurdism.
It's one.
What do you mean a descriptive absurdism? Because I'm a moral particularist. That doesn't relate to my view. Because I can hold to like principles as it relates to like.
And I'm an
things that are
ethical
true, like,
intuitionism, and that's intuitively wrong.
Like I think A is A in all circumstances.
A is A
right?
in all circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't dispute that, but what I dispute is that there are moral principles.
Thank you so much for that. Oh, thank you so much for the superpower. I'm not denoting the fact that you wouldn't hold to descriptive principles, but I'm saying the descriptive. You told me that it's not a principle, but I was talking about it in a not in a non-normative sense.
I was talking a moral principle because I'm a moral particularism. I'm not a different type of particular. You misunderstood me, but you still disagree with moral particularism. So
I do.
Yeah, we can go over the critique sometime. I'd love to hear that.
That'll have to be the first official Peen debate. Anyways, sorry,
So
Jay.
down. Thank you, headphones. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you.
You're good.
Headphones.
So my question, y'all, and like this is an honest question. For someone that doesn't believe in God, then where does true morality come from? If there's nothing that really dictates right from wrong, since most of our laws, most of everything in human nature that is considered right or wrong comes from some sort of higher entity saying don't do this or don't do that.
Not true. Morality does not come from a higher entity. Like, for instance, with the higher entities of the government in the United States said that slavery was okay from like the 18th, 19th, and 20th century. I don't think that's.
I think he's trying to reference like a god. All right. Yeah. So if you're trying to reference a god, we would just ask you like what the justification is for your particular religion, right? Because we think that there's no justified arguments that indicate a particular religion or supernatural entity that created the universe to be justified in describing anything about morality.
Right. So if you don't believe in any God, then my question is, what dictates your morality? If you don't believe in God,
it's going to be my preferences.
It's just a free world. It's
my preference. It literally is just going to be my preference. And I think that's going to be ultimately the most reliable thing, because I can, in any circumstance, I can just literally just like relate back to my preference.
Sassy Sailor, thank you so much for the
$50 cash app. Can we get a W Sailor in the comment section right now?
Let's get a W Sailor in the comment section. Thank you so much for the $50 cash app as well. W Sailor in the comment section, literally right now.
That is actually wild.
This conversation has got pretty far off topic. You're now just asking, where could morality come from if there wasn't a God? Well, how could morality come from?
This question has been answered a million times. I'm concerned as to why theists still bring this up. Like,
I know
it doesn't make sense, because if you're saying that like morality is objective, right? Morality would be true, like, and it would be true regardless of whether or not a God exists. Like, morality would still be objective. So the argument that says that like morality can only be objective given a God's existence is actually incoherent gibberish.
No, that's a contradiction.
Like straight gibberish.
Yeah, so morality could only be objective given this dependency in which morality would be subject to, is basically what that's saying.
But there's no... If you don't believe in a God, then you have no true basis of saying this is right or this is wrong. If you
why is God's preference any different from my preference?
Okay, so in a Christian standpoint, we have the Ten Commandments. Don't murder, don't lie, don't cheat.
And that's just God's preference not to do these things, right?
Right. So
so why is God's preference any more valid than my preference?
So if you don't believe in God, then
why should I follow God's preference?
Can we answer his question, please?
Why should I follow God's preference?
Why should you follow God's preference?
Yeah.
I would say you should follow God's preference just simply because I believe that we're all going to see him one day, and if you die not believing in God and you're wrong, you've lost everything. But
because God's coercing me?
No, what I'm saying is
if I don't believe in this God, I go to some eternal conscious torment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking coercion. Okay? If I go up to you and I say, if you don't have sex with me right now, I am going to cause you to go to hell, right? Would you say that that's consensual?
See, but God never does that though.
But no, would you say that that's consensual?
I mean, yeah, that's a stupid scenario.
Is it consensual?
Yes, it is. That's
consensual?
Have you never heard of coercion?
If I say, if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to send you to like an eternal conscious torment. That's consensual.
Or if they're just a better example. If you take this. You
just said no way. You say that's consensual. That's actually so fucked.
Yeah, dude, that's insane. So someone with a pew pew walks up to your mom and says, "Engage in intercourse with me right now, or I'm gonna pew pew you." Is that consensual?
Consensual? No. Okay.
Okay, it's literally the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I self-contradicted myself. I misheard y'all. I apologize. I self-contradicted myself. Yeah, that's a complete screwed up scenario. Like, of course, but what I'm saying is, all God asks for is love and worship. So that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
God asked for love and worship in the same way with the guy with the gun.
Yeah. At the threat, Carbon, thank you so much for the subscription, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. At the threat of literally eternal conscious torment.
Like, in the same way
that's actually wild. That's literally worse than someone putting a gun to my head. I'm not joking. I would rather someone put a gun to my head, right, than them to literally say I'd go to eternal conscious torment. Because even in that circumstance, I have less of a choice.
There's a significant difference, because a person holding a gun to your head saying, do this or you're going to hell, they're taking away your choice of free will. God says, hey.
Same way
God says, do this or you're going to hell. What's the difference?
No, but God gives you choice. He gives you free will. He says you can do whatever you want. He tells you what he wants you to do. If you go to hell, you chose to go to hell. He told you.
Okay, how about this? If I have a simulation of sentient beings, right? and I cause them into existence. And after I cause them into existence, I say, have sex with me, right? Or I'm going to send you to eternal conscious torment. Is that consensual?
Consensual?
Yeah.
Saying that you consent to go to hell?
No. Is it consensual for me to say, either have sex with me, do what I want, right? Or I'm going to send you to hell, eternal conscious torment. Is that consensual?
Do you still have the choice of having free will in this scenario?
You have. I gave you free will, right? And I gave you the free will to either choose to have sex with me, right, or to choose to go to hell, right? Is that a legitimate choice?
Is it a legitimate choice? Yeah. If you choose to do one or the other, then you chose it. Like,
so there's there's no issues there. That's consensual.
But if they have a gun to your head, then it's not consensual, right? But if they threaten you with lifelong
threatening of eternal conscious torment,
yeah.
Wait, no. So you're saying that if God asks a woman, right? It says it's either case that you have sex with me, right? Do what I want, or you get sent to hell, right? Is that consensual? Did that woman consentfully engage in that intercourse?
That's a completely different scenario of what God
asked. That's the exact same scenario I just asked.
But it's not, but what you're creating is a scenario that no matter what you choose, it's a screwed up scenario. God,
it's called a reductio ad absurdum.
I know that, but I'm trying to be realistic here.
So would you say it's a screwed up scenario of like God saying to never lie, and if you do lie, it's a sin? So he's basically telling you not to lie about the Jews in your attic and Germany's in the 1940s. Are you saying that's not a screwed up scenario, buddy?
It is a screwed up scenario, but God would forgive you though. If you lied, God would forgive you.
Yeah. So did God forgive Hitler?
Did God forgive Hitler?
Yeah.
Do you know if he asked for forgiveness?
Okay. Did God forgive Jeffrey Dahmer? We know he did.
Okay. Do we know that he pleaded for forgiveness and asked Jesus to be his savior?
Yeah.
Yes.
He did? Then
yes.
So you know that he asked Jesus to be his savior?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe Jeffrey Dahmer is in heaven. I mean, it's
so not only do you believe he's in heaven, but you also believe that God forgives him, and you also believe that I go to hell. So I go to hell for just simply not believing this God exists, and because on Jeffrey Dahmer's deathbed, he said, Jesus, please come in my heart. I'm sorry. Right? He then, after all the atrocities that he committed, goes to heaven.
Yeah, so you think Jeffrey Dahmer is going to paradise and Parker is going to eternal condemnation?
Parker and Dean go to hell. That's tough.
So
what about just like non-Christian, like really influentially good individuals, such as like, I don't know.
No, let me ask him this question. Hold up, let me ask him this question. So like, do you think that people who have never heard about Jesus' existence, do they go to heaven?
People that have never heard of Jesus' existence.
Like if they're ignorant, yeah.
Well, what I would say is just, of course, obviously I'm going to go by what I believe, and I'm going to go by the Bible. The Bible says that before Jesus returns, nobody on this earth will be.
Persephone, I appreciate the 5 subs. Yo, can we get another W for Dat Girl in the comment section, everyone?
Persephone.
Persephone. I'm so bad. I'm sorry.
Persephone.
We are told.
Can we get a Persephone in the comments? Sorry, I apologize.
Oh, you're good. So biblically, we as Christians are told before Jesus returns to the earth to collect his church, no, he cannot come back till every human being has had the opportunity to hear about his gospel, whether it's once, twice, whatever. Everybody will be presented with the chance to know who Jesus is.
So the people on North Sentinel Island know about Jesus?
A Sentinel Island?
On North Sentinel Island, they know about Jesus?
No, so the people who lived before Jesus existed, they knew about Jesus?
The people who lived before Jesus existed?
Yeah. So the people that were born thousands of years before Jesus existed, right? They knew about Jesus?
No, you're better at it than I am.
So
it's a better reductio.
So the people that lived before Jesus, obviously, that's going to be a no. They had what they believed in. If it's the Judaism,
so then like they're ignorant, right? Do they go to heaven?
So are we talking in the Judaic religion, or just
under your belief? Do they go to heaven?
Under my belief, those who
were ignorant, did they go to heaven?
Biblically, no. They went to Abraham's bosom.
What the hell is that?
So Abraham's bosom is basically paradise. It's a form of paradise where your soul, if you gave yourself to God, worshiped him, and was a righteous man, and you followed all the Mosaic laws in that period, then you would go to heaven and was rewarded with robes, and you went back to Eden. That's personally what I believe. Have you heard of the story of
so people who didn't follow all the rules, do they go to hell?
in that sense, like before Jesus? I would say possibly. Like, I'm not God. I can't say that yes, they went to hell.
So God doesn't save people based upon ignorance?
God is not. No. Nobody goes to hell blind.
Okay. So do you think aborted fetuses go to heaven?
Yeah,
Why?
because they were innocent. They didn't have a chance to actually sin. You mean?
Okay.
they
Okay.
didn't have-
So they didn't have a chance to sin, right? How did they not have the chance to sin?
So an aborted fetus, it was not ever born into the world.
Is there original sin?
Is there what?
Is there original sin?
Original sin? What do you mean original sin?
We're all born with original sin.
You mean like born into sin, like the Bible says? Is that what you're saying? Or So biblically, you're not held accountable
But
for your
do you not know the original sin, like the fruit of knowledge?
the fruit of knowledge? Yeah, the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. Yeah, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, like original sin.
Yeah, the original sin. He disobeyed God. Yeah,
Okay, we're born with that, right?
yeah, we're born into it. Yes.
Okay.
But
Okay. So like,
biblically-
do they go to hell?
So if I'm going to
Chan, thank you so much for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
If I'm going to answer you, biblically, you're not held to your actions until around the age of 6 to 10. That's when you actually have a good knowledge of what is right or
Oh,
wrong.
so now it's based upon knowledge. So now there's some justification for ignorance. Okay, so like if they're ignorant, they get saved.
Sophia,
Thank you for the $10 Venmo. And yes, I did do that.
If you're not old enough to know the difference between what you're doing is right or wrong, then yeah, you're considered innocent. It's a baby. A baby can't lie. A baby can't cheat. A baby cannot murder. It can't curse God. It can't disobey God. It has no will to do anything besides eat, sleep, poop, and be alive and sleep. Like,
Okay, so because they're ignorant, they're saved. Okay, so
Yeah.
then so if we just keep people ignorant to the Bible, then wouldn't more people go to heaven?
if we kept people ignorant to the Bible,
Yeah. Like we just didn't tell people about the Bible. We stopped talking about Christianity, right?
right?
Would we save more people?
I mean, if in that scenario, I mean, I guess maybe.
Yeah, we
but-
would. Okay, so we should stop talking about Christianity. We should stop talking about the Bible because we
save
want
as
the most
many
amount of people saved possible.
Yeah, we want as many people possible to go to heaven.
So let's just
And
stop
we
talking
see
about
that.
Christianity. Let's be quiet about the Bible. Stop telling new people about Jesus. You're actually leading to their demise.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, you would have to completely take God out of the perspective, because if God is existent, then you have to tell people about God. You have to tell
No, you
people.
don't. No, you don't, because that's gonna make sure that less people get saved. So we want most people to get saved as possible, right? So if we want the most people to get saved as possible, we need to stop talking about Christianity. We need to stop talking about Jesus.
With that logic, yes, but biblically, no. Because the Bible said, with that logic, yes, biblically, no. Because
But this was on the Bible. It's based on the Bible. Right?
Okay, if we're still basing off the Bible.
No, because
Jesus
you base your
himself-
view on the Bible, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
Jesus himself said he is the way, he is the truth, and he is the life. The only way to get to the Father is through him. So for us now to get to heaven under the new covenant made by Jesus, when he
Christine,
gave
thank
his
you so
life
much for
on
the $15 cash app. I appreciate it. Thank you so much,
when
Christine.
he sacrificed his blood on the cross, he gave us a free ticket to all, no matter what we do in life, no matter what kind of messed up things we do, all he asks us to do is to give us his heart.
That is so fucking. Do you love Stalin?
Do I love Stalin?
Yeah.
So are you asking, like, do I love him, or
Yeah. Do you love
Yeah,
Stalin?
do you love him?
as a human being? Yes. For his actions,
do you
no.
love Jeffrey Epstein?
Do I love Jeffrey Epstein? As a human being, yes. Was his actions messed up? Yes. It is not my
Do you
position.
love Jeffrey Dahmer?
As a human being, yes. Like, I'm not. You can ask me, do I love anybody? My answer is going to be yes. They are a human being. We all are
Do
screwed
you
up.
love Pol Pot?
Wait, did you just say we're all screwed up? I think they're much more screwed up than like.
Yeah, some are very more screwed up than
Yeah,
others.
they're just they're screwed up. We're it's
That's
just,
what I'm saying,
just
like,
like
all
we
screwed
are.
up. We're just all screwed up.
My basis of saying why I love everybody is everybody sins. Everybody does things wrong.
Yeah, I
Some
don't know. I
people
think there's a
take it
pretty
to the
clear
extreme.
distinction between genociding 6 million people plus and leading to the deaths of tens of millions of people. And I don't know, me lying about a cookie jar in a room to a kindergartner, or me telling a kindergartner that Santa Claus exists. Right? I think there's a pretty fucking big distinction between the two.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I think it's pretty ridiculous to compare the two, right? Me saying Santa Claus exists.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
obviously.
Do you tell your kid? Do you have kids?
Not yet. I'm hoping for some. But
Are you going to tell them Santa Claus exists?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you're not going to lie to them?
No. I mean, I plan to.
Are you going to tell them God exists?
Yeah.
So you are gonna lie to them.
No, I'm just
what?
messing because he thinks it's true. I was gonna say, so you are gonna lie to them, but you believe it, so like you're not intentionally doing so.
I mean, it's not lying if we have archaeological evidence of what's in the Bible actually happened.
What archaeological evidence?
Okay, so you can look into it.
Are you gonna
In
say
it-
we found Noah's Ark?
Or
No,
the blood.
No, not Noah's Ark.
The
Not
shot of
Noah's Ark.
Turin, the blood. What is it?
No,
The
not
Ark of the
Noah's Ark.
Covenant.
No, I actually have heard of that one, but I don't know. if we
Christine, thank you so much for the $15 over Cash App.
Right.
Thank you so much, Christine.
In Israel, there is the original temple where people would go because that's where they were told that the presence of God is. They have actually found the grounds of where the original temple was, and they've marked it to where this was the room of God, this is where the altar was, this is where, this and that was. Okay? If you go and look for Mount Sinai, where the Bible says God's presence resided on the top of Mount Sinai so strongly that it burnt the top of the mountain. To this day.
Yeah. So just because something's burnt doesn't mean that like specifically that was like some sort of prophecy.
Okay, then why is the top of Mount Sinai burnt?
This is not.
It could have been burnt prior to the point.
Yeah, it's been burnt.
Can you prove that?
Yeah.
How?
Wait, they've been studying this for a while.
Okay. How do you explain that they found
like-
pure sulfur on the
Yeah,
on
that
the
would
grounds
be
of where Sodom and
because that can be caused naturalistically by like naturally occurring on Earth, or it can be coming from like an asteroid.
so
So-
did it just coincidentally we found the purest sulfur?
So that could have happened at that particular time period, right? And they just like documented that.
Okay, so are you just saying it's a coincidence that the Bible says God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and where Sodom and Gomorrah geographically is located, they found?
Yeah, how does that determine like any prediction or anything like that?
It's pretty. It can't be coincidental that the Bible says this, and then you go look where the Bible says it's at. It's there. Like you saying? It's
Yeah,
just-
like what reason do you have to believe that this is the causal, or that this is like a prophecy or prediction?
I'm not saying it's a prophecy. It's in the Old Testament when God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, He destroyed it with fire and brimstone. Brimstone is basically sulfur, burning stones. So
Yeah, but sulfur is a naturally occurring substance. Plus, it's also like can come from asteroids as well.
So who's to say God didn't send it to destroy that nation?
So you can say that, but like again, we don't have reason to believe that it was particularly God, right? Just because it's claimed that it was God. I can claim that it was actually like Stewie Griffin.
Okay, so answer me this one then. I mean, I have no argument to what you just said, so I want to ask you this. Okay.
Cameron, thank you so much for the $10. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay. In the book of
How can you
Revelation-
reference the Bible when mankind is rewritten it multiple times? You talking about like translation? Yeah, like how do you know that the text is reliable or interpretation? Your interpretation is reliable.
The reason I believe that the Bible is accurate is if you go and really do the research of all the transcripts, the fragments, everything that they have actually found and documented matches up to what the Bible says. It matches up to everything that historically this and that happened, and you go back, bam.
Yeah, so you can try to show me what historically, but that didn't answer my particular question. But like, what historically?
So historically, okay.
What does it show that it could not have known?
So historically, the Israelites were slaves to Egypt, and now they've been brought out. If you go into the Red Sea, there is remains of the Egyptian chariots, horse skeletons, soldier armor.
Yeah. So again,
that
that's because it can literally it can sink to the bottom
in a straight line.
What do you mean in a straight line?
So
like that's going to be based upon currents.
So you're telling me that?
And also, I don't know what you mean in a straight line.
So are you telling me?
I might need to bring up Matt for this one because he probably knows a lot more of the.
Yeah, I'm researching Sodom and Gomorrah right now, and what I'm finding is this is highly likely that it was some form of meteor impact because they found ruins of the cities, and what we see is like melted and rooftops and like disintegrated pottery and unusual patterns in the rock formation. So that would be more so indicative of some type of meteor shower event or meteor strike. But Matt would probably just know.
True. Now, of course, science and mankind, they're gonna say everything is just science. God didn't.
Here, hold up. Let's just let Matt say this real quick.
Okay.
Right. So
let's get Matt.
Hey, what's up? So what you're describing is a bolite. That's the name of it. It's called a bolite. A bolite is a smaller meteor that comes down and it hits and it causes devastation within the area. And if you might remember, about 5-6 years ago, within Russia, there was a bolite that actually came and they got it on film, and it caused a lot of devastation. And it was only like a few meters in size. So all you need is a bolite that is pretty big to cause that kind of a devastation. And bolites are made of this kind of metal, sulfur, things like that. And that's what causes them to burn brightly. But nobody can tell you definitively where it's at, or by the way, if a place as described in Genesis 19 even existed.
Okay, so with that being said, it would be fair to say that neither you or nor I can say God did or didn't cause it, because if you, like you said, if you cannot definitively prove that it is or isn't Sodom and Gomorrah, then easily I could say it is, just like you could say it isn't, right?
Well, sure, but I'm not going to claim that when the Parthenon was struck by lightning and exploded, that was Zeus raining down his might, right? I don't know what Bible you're reading, but when I read the Bible, I get different stories, different events told by different people, and there's no one set linear path that one can go on.
So what Bible do you read? If I'm
I read the Hebrew and the Greek, so I don't read English.
Okay, the Hebrew and the Greek. So are you reading the Hebrew to English Bible or just straight Hebrew?
Straight Hebrew. I mean, I have an English Bible, but I usually just read the Hebrew.
Okay, so since we're talking about Hebrew, you might find this interesting, and you might already know this, okay? So did you know in just the first verse, okay, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, okay? So in Hebrew, where the Hebrew word God is.
Gabriella, thank you for the $5 Venmo.
There is no English translation under two.
Oh. Okay.
Oh yeah. By the way, I'm gonna let him describe this, and then I think we're gonna move on to
the
battles for tonight.
All right.
Okay. Okay. So there's two letters, the letters Aleph and Tav, that have no interpretation under it. The letters Aleph and Tav appear next to every single godly prophet after they became prophets of God. Those two letters appear 3,000 times throughout the Old Testament. Okay? and they only appear when it pertains to something prophesying the coming of Yeshua, Jesus. Okay. Also, in that same first verse of Genesis, in the beginning created God, if you take the Hebrew word Bereshit and you break it down into each individual Hebrew letter has a meaning. The letter Aleph means strong servant, because in ancient Hebrew it was pictograph. It was
Okay,
a pictogram.
I'm going to stop you here because I know this theory. I've seen the Venn diagrams. I know this theory about if you break down a Bereshit bara Elohim and you break it all down in the first verse that you get something that is prophesied of Jesus. I know this claim. And by the way, there are many Hebrew scholars, people with PhDs in this stuff that have gone down and broken this theory down and totally refuted it. I am not going to do that. I recommend that you watch videos from people with PhDs, people who are Jewish, people that speak, that know Hebrew better than I do, breaking this down, and they will show you how that theory is totally bogus. Totally bogus. That is something that Christians are imposing onto Hebrew, the language. It does not exist. And in fact, on TikTok, you can find videos from Hebrew scholars breaking it down in like a 10-minute video and going very in depth with the language and everything and showing you how that does not make any sense. So you can describe it to me, but I'm telling you, I know it, and I know for as well as a fact as it could be from people that have many, many, many more years of study on this, it is just completely false.
Okay, so these Hebrew scholars, are they Hebrew theists or Hebrew atheists?
Some of them are Jewish, some of them are Christian, some of them are atheists. They all subscribe to a mode.
Jesse, thank you for the $10 Venmo.
They all subscribe to a mode of critical thinking that seeks truth. And whenever truth is obfuscated, they are going to critique it. There are people who study Hebrew that are theists, people who believe in Jesus, believe in his resurrection, and believe in his sacrifice, and that will tell you that thing that you just said is bogus. Why? Because there is no evidence for it, like none. Like you have to make stuff up just to get to it. And no scholar, whether they be Hebrew, Christian, or like any other religion, is going to impose that kind of thinking onto the data.
Okay. I'll definitely look into that. 'Cause I definitely want to educate myself more on what I believe. I try to not just stay to one thing. I want to broaden my thinking to some extent. But I'm sure y'all are tired of talking about all this different stuff. I respect every one of y'all. I appreciate y'all for talking to me. Love y'all. Hope y'all have a good rest of the night.
All right, peace out.
Thanks, Sophia, for the $10. I appreciate it.
Take care, man. Take care. It was nice
Bye.
meeting you.
Take care of yourself.
All right, everyone. We're going to be ending the live here for today, and then we're going to be moving over to the second accounts for some live battles here tonight.
That's right.
If you want to join us, you can obviously come through, everyone. But tomorrow I should be on around my normal time. Tomorrow is Friday, right?
It is Friday. And everybody, I'm going to be going live on this account, the account that you see right now.
I should be going live early tomorrow, chat. Early tomorrow. And Dean's going to be going live on this account. I will be going live early tomorrow, probably around 11. Maybe a little bit, maybe 11 or 12, something like that. I should be live until like 5 or 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. But today, everyone, we're going to be running up some battles. So if you want to come through, everyone, come right now. You can ask us questions. You can chill with us. We're going to be doing a lot of Q&A stuff there for a little bit. And then we'll probably switch over to battles.
Yep, that's right, guys. You know what? You know, the P Team Dream Team takes quite a few W's in the co-host, but we take.
Someone said sub chat because you lost the debate. I do literally sub chats the last hour of my live every time.
I don't understand why they think that.
I know.
It's a constant superstition. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go live on this account right here. Everyone, pull through. But Parker, I will be seeing you very, very, very shortly.
See you there in a second, man.
We're gonna destroy you in the live.
Okay, buddy. We need to come back, chat. He beat us the last few times, but we need to come back today. We need to show up. So if you do want to support me, if you want to give an L to Dean, right? then make sure to come through right now and help me out. Everyone, we're going to go to the second account right now. Parker, get a Bible, everyone. I'm trying to send Venmos, but it's asking me to confirm numbers. Oh, that's weird. It's asking you to confirm number. It shouldn't. I think you can just go past it. It should allow you to. But I'll be right back, everyone. Love y'all so much. See you on the second account.